Hi everyone, it's Raymond Wood at the Raymond Wood podcast, and apologies, we've been missing for about 12 weeks, we've been very crazy, but over the next 6 weeks we've got 14 podcasts locked in, so we're going to be going thick and fast. Now today I've got with me Matt Gillett. Matt, how are you, mate?
Good, Ray, how are you, mate?
Very good, mate, very good. So thanks for joining us. So obviously there's probably a few people on here going, wait there, wrong code, different sport.
Yeah. Played soccer at a young age.
But how's life treating you at the moment, mate? You busy?
Yes, mate, pretty busy with, getting older and, building a family, 3 kids, so all their extra activities outside of school hours, very busy. Plus you throw work on there and a few other commitments that I've, put myself into. So life's busy, but, I'd rather have it that way than sitting around and thinking about what I've got to do every day.
What age are the kids, Matt?
The daughter turns 11 this year. My little fella will turn 9, and our youngest daughter just turned 2. So bit of a gap there with number 3 coming along, but lucky the older daughter's like a little mother too, so pressure's off me.
That's so good. We've done that. I have my girls are 17 and 11, so she's like the big adopted mum, which is great. Like, and it's
just takes that little bit of awkward off.
Instant babysitter.
Yeah, in the shower. Pretty confident almost to leave the eldest there for maybe the wife and I can go out and grab a feed down the local pub there and get home. But it's great having the kids, mate. It's no better feeling in the world than having your own, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now we're going to, obviously, I'm a big fan of all sports, and growing up in Liverpool, we just spoke off here a little bit, like 2 of the closest teams to us was St Helens and Wigan. And I spent a lot of time working in a place called Skelmersdale and Wigan when I was younger. And the rivalry of rugby league between them towns was just unbelievable. And then down the road, 15 minutes, you got the rivalry between Liverpool and Everton in football. So we always wanted you to get you on. I'm so happy to get you on and talk a little bit about rugby league, football, but also what you're doing currently at the moment. But one of the first things I want to do is if we can roll right back to the early days, if we can remember that far back. What's your first memory of rugby league and what was it?
Mate, like I just mentioned before, I was playing soccer at Bribie Island, which is about an hour from here where we are. Signed up there, played there till I was 11. So we had a bit of a mixed team playing soccer. I was just there with my mates, as we do. We want to be around our mates and have fun and enjoy a sport. So at a young age, it was soccer for me, and I really enjoyed it. And come to under 11s, and I was still playing soccer. So I played do the old soccer on the Saturday, footy on Sunday. Or could be the reverse way around, but eventually transitioned over to rugby league full time in under 12s. Back then we were no boots, so it was all barefoot, running around the paddock. So that was pretty cool coming from soccer where we sort of wore boots, and then rugby league you was still barefoot. So it was pretty crazy. Kicking off sand, so there was no tees, no markers that you were kicking off. Old school training with mums and dads putting their hands up to be coaches. So good times. But yeah, just again, the reason I went over to rugby league was because my mates were all over there, and I felt like I was missing out on something. So went over there and played a lot of rugby league at Bribie Island. I still got mates from those days, which is very important. And one of the boys Dane Hogan, that I played soccer with, he was a year younger than me. We both went over to footy at the same time. He had to stay in that lower grade, and I was a year above him, but he ended up playing first grade as well through the Cowboys and Dragons here in Australia. So pretty cool story. We used to hang out as kids, and then sort of the same sort of pathway into rugby league. That's
amazing. So do you think actually some of the foundations you learned in soccer actually helped you going into rugby league?
Yeah, mate, I think it does. I can see it. My little fella at the moment is a bit uncoordinated, a bit of a bigger boy out there on the soccer field, but that coordination and especially with your footwork, it's quite important, not just for rugby league but soccer. To be agile and be able to adjust quite quickly. So if you ever see me run on a footy field, it doesn't look pretty. It's a bit unco, but you definitely, I think, any sport, soccer, tennis, whatever that is, if you pick up something little from every different sport, it's going to help you, reach your goal one day and, maybe playing professionally or just being the best you can. You pick up skills from all different sports, I believe.
When you transitioned across into footy with your friends and you started to realise it was going to be footy you were going to be playing, did you have an idol that you looked up to? Was there someone who really stood out to you as you started getting more into it?
Actually, our family we followed St George, the Dragons. So growing up into that, so my pop, his brother was like a trainer, gear steward for the Dragons. So our family me growing up, and I just followed mum and dad's footsteps and supported them. And Trent Barrett was one of my players that I looked up to. So he played a bit of 5'8", bit of lock, so he was forward slash a dominant 5'8", but sometimes fielded and played lock. So and he's now coaching at the Brisbane Broncos as an assistant coach. So it was pretty cool to watch him play. I liked the style of footy he played. He was a bit of a ball runner with in that 5'8" position, a key role with, moving the team around. But his strength was definitely, running the ball, and he's a bit of a bigger body as well. So having him there, and I was very lucky when my first year into the NRL playing the Broncos, I got Rookie of the Year in the competition, and Trent Barrett, he presented me the award on stage. So it was, obviously I'm not sure if that happened on purpose or they knew that he was my favourite as a kid, but it was pretty special to get up there and get presented by Trent with that award.
Yeah, it's funny, really interesting you were saying about like the transition between the sports and especially how the kicking can help. And I can remember I was living in and working, very fortunate to work in Hawaii, and I was there with a couple of other coaches from the UK. We were there for a couple of years, and we had a goalkeeper with us, and I'll never forget him, Louis, and he was working at Chelsea at the time, and he actually got offered a position, a full scholarship to play American football, just based on his kicking.
The punting, yeah, nice.
The punting, because we literally challenged these boys who were on NCAA 1 scholarships to a kicking competition. And we beat the three of them, me and the two coaches from England. But one of the guys was a goalkeeper. He was just striking it through every time. And it was funny, my first time moving to Australia, I think it was 2006, and it was watching the Broncos and Darren Lockyer. And when he just used to let that ball out of his hands and he'd just kick it straight through, and he'd always find a space in between the lines.
They won the premiership that year.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And I can remember thinking that's exactly like a football or a soccer player, just kicking it between the left back and the centre back. And it was ironic, I found that he played a little bit of soccer as well when he was younger as well. So it sort of bodes well. I think that crossover with the sports definitely helps. Yeah,
it does, mate. Obviously, you mentioned those key positions like Darren Lockyer. I was fortunate enough to play with him just before he retired, and I was starting my journey. But he was one player that could turn a game with his kicking game and put him in the right spots. The kick chase, the rest of it comes off the back. But under pressure, he would put that ball where it needs to be every time. And like you said, repetition as a kid, playing soccer, and then just out in the paddock, kicking it over time and time, just knowing your game and what works for you. So Lockie was definitely the ones that you wanted his hands on the ball on fifth and last, or when it's time to kick, and you just react to what he had done.
It's funny, for like, you'll know this as well, but like we done a huge study in the UK for the Premier League and the FA, and it kicked off in around 2010, and to date the project spent like £1.9 billion, and what we discovered was we were looking for the secret sauce, and we done a bit of an exploration on David Beckham, and jokes aside, everyone said he was only talented because he was good looking and he married the Spice Girl.
But that helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps. But what we discovered with him was he was world class, undoubtedly, but he was world class because he was really good at one thing, and that exact same thing, he just practiced repetition, taking free kicks and crossing the ball. And it showed us that if you just prepared to work on one thing and be really good at it, that's sometimes enough to make it as a player in any sport, really.
Yeah, it is, mate. It's this day and age, and all the opportunities that our kids do have, and all the access to coaching, online coaching. The rest that they can just sit there and watch and understand what it does take to get to that level. And like you said, mate, it's just repetition. You've got an hour of training session with your coach a week or 2 times a week, and whatever your sessions are, it's about what you're doing after those hours or before those hours to better yourself as a player. And because, like I just said, mate, every kid's out there, they're doing the extras, they're doing everything. So what's going to separate you from them? Yeah. That's just that repetition. That's just doing it. So when game day does come, or there's scouts, or there's someone's watching you, you've done it. You've done that kick, that tackle, whatever it is. You've done that 1,000 times. So you calm out in the footy field and just let it go. So that's all comes back down to that repetition and practice, no doubt.
Practice. Now, think back to when you got that first call up from the Broncos. Can you remember the day, and how did it make you feel when was it like, did you believe it?
Mate, I had a little bit of a up and down journey to get to debuting in 2010. I was part of the under-20s group when it first came out, so the national youth competition in 2008. I was playing at Brisbane Western District Panthers in Brizzy. I got an opportunity halfway through the year to play with the Broncos under-20s. I played about 5 games for them, 6 games. We'll come into the finals. with the Broncos, and we're going pretty well. We're sitting at the top of the table. I was just playing off the bench, playing a bit of a forward role off the bench. At the same time, West had made the grand final when we were starting Broncos finals. So I decided to go back and play at Western District Panthers just to show I did my pre-season, all my training with them.
Yeah.
So I decided to go back to them and play in the grand final and give sort of that Broncos opportunity away. Weren't too many people happy in my corner, mate. Mum was okay with it. Dad, that phone call was quite hard. I was in tears and felt like I'd let him down. And as we all do as parents, are the sacrifices that we do for our kids to get them to where they are and the belief that they instill in you. So Dad was very disappointed in my decision. My player manager at the time didn't have any idea what I was doing. The coach, Anthony Griffin, who has coached first grade now for a few different clubs, couldn't get his head around it why I was going back to there. But for me, it was just about going back. I'd done the pre-season, the hard yards with them. I wouldn't have been playing 20s with the Broncos without them. So staying loyal, went back and played with them. We won the grand final for West. Broncos went on and played Canberra in the GF that same year, and they went down in a close match. The following year is when I went to North Devils, the Queensland Cup side.
Yeah.
But still there, mate, I was a bit iffy on what I was doing with my footy, and I didn't rock up to pre-season until after Christmas. We all know how hard pre-seasons are before the Chrissy break. So I didn't rock up. I started in reserve grade through training, and then I ended up playing Queensland Cup that year at North. I played a bit of lock, bit of 5'8" at the time, and then Ivan Henjak was the coach of the Brisbane Broncos at the time. And so this is in 2009. He come to me halfway through the year and sat down with me and said, we're going to look to put you a bit of a training trial in the 2009-2010 pre-season. Let's see how you go. And I was like, all right. I did this with the 20s, so now's my time to get in there, knuckle down. After that conversation, that's definitely something that I wanted to do is give it a crack anyway and see how I go. And I did, mate. My pre-season 2009-2010, I put on about 10 kilos. Did the right things, discipline with eating the right foods, training hard. Leaning on the senior players at the Brisbane Broncos, and you see Sam Thaiday, Justin Hodges, Corey Parker's there, Petro Sevenasiva, Darren Lockout. You've got all those boys you're looking up to coming into a squad. So trained my ass off, put the weight on, did everything right. They were happy with me. Did all the 3 trials leading into round 1, and then trial well, and then team gets announced in the meeting room, and I was there on the bench. So a pretty unreal feeling I get my goosebumps now. When the boys play, they play Sunday. I might run out. But unreal feeling to all that hard work and the sacrifice you do to get to where you want to be is unreal. And just to make the phone calls to the family. I've been part of the time we weren't married, but it goes a long way. And just to get that jersey, pull that jersey on for the first time. I was lucky enough, we played the Cowboys, so we have a local derby, Suncorp Stadium, round 1 on a Friday night. You can't get any better than that in the debut match. And it was unreal. Packed house as it is when we do play the Cowboys. And I was lucky enough we won the game, and I got to score a try and debut as well. But to run out and see the family in the crowd, and it's an unreal feeling. So it all kicked off from there, mate.
I think I was at that game.
Okay.
It's quite funny. I took a lot of stick because anyone who knows me, I'm a 100% football soccer guy. Yeah. I've never ever watched or participated or even shown any interest in any other code. And growing up as a kid, I had a mate in school who was obsessed with St. Helens.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, we all thought you were odd if you followed like rugby league in Liverpool because it's just a football soccer city. But moving here, even like my brother was having a go at me, and he's like, why am I seeing you at like rugby league games watching this team called the Broncos? I said, because basically it's actually really good to watch. I said, and I actually think from my coaching background, I think we're seeing probably one of the greatest teams you're ever going to see. I said that it was unbelievable. I said, and also, no disrespect to the A-League, but it's not that great.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, and it's hard to watch sometimes.
Yeah.
And so that was my Friday, and I used to love the Friday nights going to Suncorp to watch them games.
You can't beat it, mate. A full house at Suncorp Stadium with the crew.
So, what was your biggest shock though stepping into first grade? Because I've seen it before where players in football really struggle with certain things. What was the one big thing that shocked you and took you back and thought, oh, I've got to really, put a bit in with this, or something that really shocked you just in general? the difference stepping up to that first grade? Was something that really stood out?
For me, pretty sort of relaxed bloke and pretty cruisy. So I think just once you sort of get around the players that you've sat and watched for a number of years before you on the big screen, and you don't really know them as people, and coming in there, you're a bit standing on eggshells and sort of not knowing where you sort of sit within that team and stuff. But the more you sit down, have those conversations with those senior players in the team, and it's pretty again, you're a bloke playing rugby league, and they're all doing the same thing. They're human. They have those conversations, same interest as you as well. So once I sort of build some connections there with the boys amongst that group, it sort of levels you out a little bit. And but mate, just the hours of training. You see the 80-minute performance on a footy field. Sometimes you go in extra time, but the amount of hours that you're training, you're eating, the food prep, the sponsorship stuff, the commitments you've got to do outside of rugby league. It's quite full on you. That you're within that group. You're at the Broncos more than you are at home with the family. So it's quite the big commitment. But again, for me, it's getting to that stage. That's a privilege to be in that position and to give back to people that love the game and just want to be around and see Broncos and see the heroes and the people they look up to. It's quite special. And regardless if I would have made first grade, I would have been playing local league somewhere and pulling on a jersey. I was just very fortunate to get my opportunity and work hard at it. And I think that's something that kids and if they want something, if they really want it, they're going to have to work hard, because like I mentioned before, everyone else is out there doing it. So work ethic is going to get you across the line by the end of the day.
All day.
There's so many players out there now that have come through. They're not most talented, and we see it in every sport. You get those talented kids that make every team, and by the time it comes time for them to work hard in a full-time system, they sort of fizzle out. And the ones that aren't talented, that really want it and work hard, they're the ones that usually go through. So that work ethic, I definitely, coming into the squad, that's something that I work pretty hard on, and the pre-season is very tough. So getting up, like I said, I had to put some weight on, so I couldn't miss an opportunity to put food in my mouth. So I was eating. As I wake up, I'd eat, even though I know I'm going to get smashed in fitness that morning. I'd have to put something in the body, otherwise I'd fall behind maybe a kilo or two. So putting the food in the body and then going training, having food straight after, it was just I'm glad I did it, mate, because it was a hell of a journey and something I love. So it's unreal to do that, and say that I've pulled on the jersey for the Brisbane Broncos is unreal.
Now, talking about those senior players, and I'm sure when you were younger and you first went in, obviously there was probably many who helped you along the way, but is there one senior player who really took you under the wing at the time and give you some useful pieces of information, or really just looked after you in general?
I think there's a few there that really had those conversations to me, I suppose, those more one-on-ones, which Sam Thorday, we obviously know the character that he is on and off the field. He's one that, that sort of sat me down and had those little conversations about, not necessarily on the footy field, about the footy, I suppose my performances. He did pull me along a few times and let me know that I wasn't, playing up to my potential or my standard, which is what you want from your senior players. You need that effort, that bit of feedback from them to pump you up a bit and get you going. But just the conversations around who the Broncos are, what we stand for, and our past is pretty important. So learning about how to do the right things off the footy field was obviously going to help your performance on the footy field as well. And between Sam and Petro Sevenasiva, Petro's the nicest man in rugby league, and anyone you talk to, there's not a nicer man out there than him. And just to watch him go about his day-to-day business, whether we'd finish a training session and he makes sure we go right around the field, and if there's 1,000 fans there, he's there until he does his job. And those little things, but they mean so much to a fan or someone that's travelled an hour and a half to come just watch training and get a signature or a photo with you. So learning off those boys was definitely something that I tried to follow in their footsteps. And again, all the coaches and the access to be a better football player through your coaches at the time, but a senior leader playing group is definitely something you need to buy into what they're doing and feed off them. That's for sure.
I think it's like a great example. You know, you're saying like there's many qualities of a leader, but one of the things I'm noticing is disappearing out the game in soccer, but also I'm seeing it in a lot of sports now is things like that, going around and acknowledging the people who've been there watching and might have drove an hour and a half, and like, I won't name names, but we do football tours with the kids of Australia over to the UK once or twice a year, and we took them to watch a women's game in the Premier League, and there's about 100 of us. We've got Aussie flags, scarves, kangaroos, everything there, and this particular player just completely just walks past and doesn't acknowledge one of the girls that we had with us in the group, and we're like, wow, like, this is
it's
poor.
It is. It's it's like a couple of minutes out of your time to make someone's,
and these kids are flown all
probably
around the world.
A highlight of their lives, just to go out, get the photo, show their family, show their friends, look who I met, look, I've got a signature or whatever it is. It's an easy thing to do when you're winning and everything's going well, and you're feeling good about how life is, and everyone's usually generally happy to do that. I'm not saying I was perfect with doing it all, but when the crowd, little kids come and watch you and support you, it's been raining all game, sitting there drenched in a poncho. All they want to do is touch you or get a photo with you. Just that little minute or two just to go over and go, thank you for coming. And you're not going to get to everyone. We all understand that, but at least you're showing that you're thankful for them showing up. Yeah.
Now, Premierships, Origin, Kangaroos, which is the one moment, the one game that give you the best goosebumps, and why?
Well, I wasn't lucky enough to win the Premiership. We were very close. In 2015, we played the North Queensland Cowboys. So two Queensland teams playing a grand final down in Sydney. Mate, that was a unreal experience that year. Wayne Bennett had come back to us. He's back in Brisbane coaching after his Newcastle Knights stint. He come back to us in 2015, and that season was nothing could really go wrong for us. Everything gelled. Had a great time on the field, and we were just connected, so well connected on the field. We just knew each other's game. A lot of trust within that group, obviously, to get to a GF. So we're about 5 seconds away from winning the GF, and North Queensland pulled a magic trick out of their bums, and scored in the corner. JT misses the goal from the sideline to win it, and it goes to extra time. We dropped the ball off the kickoff. They kicked the field goal to win it. So that ring was almost on their finger. It was like that, and then just got taken away. But that's rugby league, mate. It's probably that would have really topped off my career on a personal note to win a premiership, but it wasn't to be. But it's 10 years ago now, mate. As time fly, and
crazy. Eh?
We've been to a couple more, and we've lost. The Broncos have lost as well in close games. So hopefully that premiership's coming back this year, and or soon enough. But I think, mate, Origin for me definitely stands out. I was lucky to represent the Kangaroos, Australia, 12 times, and we travelled England in 2016. It was in the Four Nations. We won that one over there against New Zealand. Had a great time on tour, and then 2017 we had the World Cup back here in Australia, and the same thing. Like, we travelled obviously in Australia, so we games up down in Melbourne, up in Darwin. And we had the final against England, and we beat them on the home turf, and it was a close, very, very close match. So, again, very, unreal experience to be a part of that tour and win a World Cup on our home soil. Is pretty special. But definitely for me, representing Queensland, I think just the build up and the rivalry between the two states is unreal, and you would have been there. You probably would have sat there and watched there. And at Suncorp Stadium, so I debuted in 2012 for Queensland. Debuted down in Melbourne, actually, so at the neutral ground. At Etihad Stadium, was the closed-in stadium down there. So got to debut down there. Big Petro Sevenasiva presented me with my debut jersey the day before in the captain's run. So again, another really, really special moment there. He's one of the best front rows that ever wore that jersey as well. So to get that, we won the game one. Game two was in Sydney, and we lost that one. So it was a decider back in Brisbane. Suncorp Stadium, full house. Our fans are crazy. They love it. They travel from everywhere to run out that night. Probably a bit like soccer, and when you play, when you're getting ready in that dressing room, it's pretty quiet, calm. Everyone's going about their business, their own preparations, what works for them. Some are having a joke, some are full serious with the headphones on, just going about their individual preparation for the game. It's pretty quiet within the dressing rooms. Get the warm up done, things ramp up. We're ready to go. Cam Smith has his last few words to us, looking everyone in the eyes. Everyone's buying in. The emotions are starting to rise. Getting that team huddle break, and then we run out onto Suncorp Stadium. They open the doors, and you can just sort of hear that little bit of rumble, that little bit of noise, and then obviously Smitty goes out first, and we all follow. And mate, it's just I'm getting goosebumps again now thinking about it. It's the best feeling in rugby league I've had. I think running out there, packed house, sea of maroon everywhere. Our fans are the best fans in the world for rugby league. That's without a doubt. They travel so far to run out there, hear that roar, and just have a look around and embrace that. That was, that was unreal. And then after that, you've obviously run out, and then we line up arm in arm, and we sing that national anthem. And again, I just do see the family. You've got to try and find them a little bit. You sort of know where they are in the crowd. So just to see them start singing that national anthem. I used to get tears in the eyes. It was just that emotion of obviously a big game on the big stage, but just to see your family there supporting you, especially when the kids come along, it's so enjoyable to be there. Rugby league and playing for Queensland, it's not just about you. It's about the state. It's about who you're playing for. It's about sending those kids home happy. They can go back to school happy, enjoy it. It's it's what they live for, mate. So yes, it's a personal goal to get there and achieve, but to go out and represent Queensland and do it for the fans, your family, the sacrifices they do for you. And the game was a very close game itself. Cooper Cronk, the man he is, steps up and kicks a field goal. I was on the bench at that time. I've already done my stint, so sitting on the bench and watching him go about his business, nails the field goal, runs back like he does it every day, gets set up, we end up winning the game. Mate, it's unreal feeling, and that's something you don't want to let go of, that feeling. Once you pull that Maroons jersey, those feelings, those moments is something that you want to be a part of. And get me wrong, we enjoy our time off the field and our bonding sessions and at the start of every camp, and that's what it's about, mate. That mateship that you build at the start of camp, and when all the new players and fresh faces come in, it's about building those connections and the rewards off the back of that, of winning Origin series like that one with extra by a point and a field goal. Unreal.
It's unreal, eh? Unreal. It was funny, I've been to a lot of different games. I've been in Australia for 18 years now, on and off, and I've been to like Union, I've been to AFL, and I've been to obviously Rugby League, and it's like, and then everyone used to say, what's the atmosphere like at the games? And as I say, it's good. Like some of the games are good, like more so like NRL's pretty good, but comparing it to football and England soccer, it's a million miles away. But then I then got the first invitation to a State of Origin game, and I didn't quite understand what it was, because it seemed like really alien to me, like Queensland playing New South Wales, well, it's only a 2-team competition. But then I went to the first game with the Suncorp, and I was like, oh my God, I need to come to this every year. This is like going to a Premier League game in England. It's like the atmosphere was unbelievable.
It is unreal, mate. It's I still go now. I still watch the boys and get there with the family, and sitting on the other side of the fence to watch it, because before I played, I never went to a State of Origin match. So now sitting on the other side of the fence and enjoying it, I'll just turn into a fan and ride the highs and lows of the team themselves. But it's you can't, especially at Suncorp Stadium, you can't beat that atmosphere. That's for sure. So. If you get a chance, anyone, get there and
get there.
Game on this year, so it should be a cracker.
Now we're going to just go through a little short break, and then when we come back, we're going to just speak a little bit about legacy and transition, and then a little bit about what Matt's up to. So guys, just watch this advert break, and we'll be back with you in the next 20 seconds. Welcome to the Professional Player Pathway. If you've got a dream yourself or a dream for your child, and you're going to move heaven and earth to make it happen, This pathway is a way for young football players like you to hone your skills and get your chance in Europe. Because talent is everywhere, but Europe is where football stars are made. So it's our job to get you there. But here's the kicker. Getting to the UK or Spain for academy trials isn't enough. You need to be good enough to get signed. Which is why our programme focuses on the complete footballer. Skills, mindset, nutrition and education. We prep you not just to be as good as the English and Spanish kids, but better. In our sessions, we're going to cover a lot of ground. What exactly is the Professional Player Pathway Programme? How does it improve your game? What it actually takes to become a professional footballer? Who we are partnered with? And the most important is our success stories so far. Will you be next? Register below or contact us. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed the ad break. So we're back with Matt again, and we're just going to finish off a little bit about legacy and transition and a little bit about what you're up to at the moment, Matt. So when did you know when you were getting to the end of the career? When did it first hit you when you knew probably should be time to hang up the boots and move on to pastures now?
Well, for me, mate, I was medically retired due to a shoulder injury, so I still had another 3 years to run on my contract.
Yeah.
So it's 2019. So in 2018, I had a pretty serious injury. I fractured my neck, my C4. So just from a crusher tackle that happened in a game. So it was just a chin to chest action with a bit of someone's body was on there. So, mate, I ended up playing another 4 games with the fracture of my neck, not knowing. It sounds a lot worse, and I should maybe have been a bit more pain, but I sort of got through it and thought it was just a bit nervy because it was pretty dominant down the left-hand sort of side of my arm and neck. End up playing, another 4 games, not knowing, and it just wasn't getting right. My players, the coaches said, mate, what's going on? You're not usually yourself, and I love the contact of rugby league, so I was shying away from that, which is probably a good indication that things weren't right. End up investigating further. There was scans and whatnot, and they found the fracture on the C4 on the front left hand side, and I had a couple of hairline ones on the back. So very shocking to hear that. And when I got the results, and they come out and they tried to put a neck brace on me. I was just like, what? I've been playing, I played 4 games with this injury, and so I brought the neck brace off and drove home, and it wasn't until the next day I had to go see the surgeons to see if I had to get surgery on the neck or whatnot. So I was pretty scared. At that time, I had the 2 older kids were in our lives, so the questions run through your head. Yeah. Am I going to be able to play footy again? What's his surgery look like? Yeah. Am I going to be able to throw my kids in the air, be an active dad, be around them? So I was pretty scared. There was a few tears that night, hopping in the shower, and obviously thinking the worst case scenario as we do and build ourselves up with the unknown. But appointment was that next morning, and straight away he cleared the air. Said you won't need surgery. It's just a normal fracture. Just got to let time heal. So I missed all of 2018. Got in there and just did just did weights and cardio in the gym, and come back and made my return in 2019, and I got through the season, got back and represented Queensland 2 times that year. Missed the 3rd one through a groin injury. Got to later that year and injured the shoulder again late. It might have been later games, and I already had 2 shoulder reconstructions on my right shoulder, so I just thought, maybe it's just another Rico, go in and see the doctors. And so I got probably the bad news of, mate, there's not much we can do for your shoulders from 2 of the doctors. So again, I was upset, bit of an emotional person, but to mentally you just want to keep playing, right? So you just want to keep going out there and think you can, but the time had come to an end where I had to hang up the boots and think about life after footy again and where I want to be. So retired at the end of 2019 due to the injury. So medically retired, so it just gave me an opportunity to work within the club at the Brisbane Broncos, which is another great opportunity to life after footy, where they're very good at keeping their players on. They have done a great job for them on the paddock, but also transition as well. So very fortunate, but it all comes to an end, and mate, I'm very happy where I am now with healthy kids and a wife and a job and everything else that comes forward. So what happened to me with a shoulder injury? Yep, a very little thing in the scheme of things when you have a look what's going on in this world.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose what was to follow on from there was COVID as well, wasn't it? So you probably would have been
at the right time, mate.
Yeah, so probably a good time, and
yeah.
you get a good payoff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, all mate, medically retire these days. They honour your contract, and
that's amazing.
They just have to work it out through the NRL and the Broncos to get paid out, and which is great. And they just that money comes off the salary cap as well, so it frees up a bit of space to. Obviously, a player's gone, so you need to replace them. So didn't want to do it, but life goes on, mate. And I'm looking now. I'm just a supporter.
Yeah.
And a fan.
Now, looking back to finish off on that little part of like your whole career, when you think back, how do you hope that maybe your teammates or fans remember you by? And what's the one thing that you want to be remembered by from your playing career?
Well, just knowing if they look over to me that I'm there, I'm going to show up for them that night, and that's the way I sort of played my rugby league. For them to look over to me Matty's here. Matty, my nickname is Gillett, so Gillett, he's on tonight. I can count on him to do his job.
Yeah.
I can trust him to do his job.
Yeah.
That's not just showing it on the footy field. It's also showing it training, doing the extras. If you don't get something quite right, are you working hard behind the scenes to make that right?
Yeah.
Are you eating the right foods for your skin folds to be down and putting the right weight on? All those little things, have that roll on to game day and that performance on the footy field. So for me, it was about doing my part on the footy field to do my part to make my teammates better. Doing those little things, those 1% as we call. I was pride myself on showing up for my mates and doing that on a day-to-day basis off the field, but on the field is where it's shown. So yeah, definitely a bloke that shows up and gives the all every game, even though it might not be the best on game day. You might get some things wrong, but definitely just showing up for your mate is a big thing.
It's a big thing. Now we've got a couple of minutes to go before we wrap up, but before we do, obviously I first met you for the first time personally a couple of months ago through Paul Merritt, and I just want to touch on a little bit and give you guys a little bit of a pump up of what you've got going on, because I've looked across it and it seems very special what you've got planned. So could you just walk everyone through who's watching and listen a little bit, like what you're doing with your current projects, what you're doing for full-time work, and what you love doing at the moment as well?
Yeah, so full-time at the moment, I'm working for former Origin greats, FOGs. We're a non-for-profit organisation just here in Milton as well. Yeah. So the idea that FOGs come about back in the day when the Origin started in 1980. The boys that put on them their own jersey after they sort of got out of that arena, they struggled to get a ticket to go watch the game. So they've put their body through a hell of a lot for people to enjoy and on the big screen, and they struggled to get a ticket to go to the game. So FOGs was formed, and now it's there, and we've got sort of 4 pillars that we work on. The ARTI Academy, which is Indigenous mentoring through primary and high schools, and attached to the high schools a driving licensing program as well. ARTI Academy is named after our FOG number 1, Arthur Beetson, the first Indigenous captain in any sport in Australia. So that was his vision for making sure the Indigenous kids are rocking up to school. It's in an incentive-based, attendance-based program, so above 90% you get a incentive of like an ARTI hoodie or some tickets to the games and things like that. So just to get kids to rock up to school, get through to year 12 and maybe come out with the driving license as well, to give themselves the best chance at the world, at getting a job. So that was ARTI's vision for those kids just to come to school, do the right thing, rock up. School's not for everyone, we understand that, but just give yourselves the best opportunity. So that was ARTI's vision for his people, and that still sticks around even though he's not with us now. So that's sort of the one pillar of that. Other 3 pillars, we support Junior Rugby League. We raise money for various charities through our events, and we donate back to the FOG members, with not directly back to them, maybe a family member that's some illness or some charity work that attaches to them. And we also support the State of Origin series through some financial commitments outside of it. So that's sort of my full-time role there with the FOG. So I do a bit of ambassador work for the Brisbane Broncos on game days through the corporate arena, and also just come on this year as a assistant coach for the NRLW, so the women's program that we have there. So I'm doing that as well. And another recent one that like you touched on before, with Paul Merritt. We created a Merritt Sports platform where Paul's niche is the land and house packages in real estate, obviously Australia-wide. So we connected early last year. After a conversation, the ball got rolling with coming together to create Merritt Sports, which is something pretty special. So obviously Paul's niche is the land and house package, and for me to come into it's about mentoring athletes, footy, soccer, cricket, whatever it is, on what they're doing outside of their sport. Where are they putting their time, their interests? What are they doing? What's their distractions away from that little bubble that I sort of call it when you're stuck in a professional environment? What are you doing now to put things in place to live comfortably for the future? And you're going to build a family, maybe, yes. What are you going to have to fall back on? So that's where I sort of come in. We connect with people, athletes, catch up with them, see what their interests are, and there's opportunity to build that portfolio of real estate through land and house packages across Australia. And if you can do that and build 3 or 4 houses, 5 houses through your career, and by the time you come out of it, it'll be unreal. You'll be sitting back going, So my guidance through what they're doing off the field, because I believe having a distraction off the field is very important for you to keep level-headed. We can get stuck in the bubble and think rugby league or soccer all the time, and it gets too much, especially for the kids coming straight out of school into a profession. So to have that focus outside of rugby league, soccer, cricket, whatever it is, I think it's very important. I can, for me, a big one was when my kids come along. They don't know. They don't care if you won, lost. You played poorly. You played great. You are still a dad. You've got to get up. Yeah. It's like having a big night on the beers, and you've got to get up that next morning and look after them. I don't care. So definitely important as athletes go through their journey to have a distraction and do that. It's just separate both. It's go home, clear the head, focus on something else. When you're at your profession, nail that and stay away. Yeah. Put things in place for a smooth transition after footy, soccer, cricket, whatever it is.
Whatever you play.
I'm enjoying that, mate. We're fresh into it. So, we'll get the ball. There'll be, once the momentum sort of gets going and we reach out and connect with some athletes, it's going to be unreal.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of it, especially in the Premier League. I was working at a club called Leicester City from about 2011 to 2014, and we were around a lot of ex-players who'd been in the top team, and then it was like they didn't know what to do next, and it was soul-destroying to see like these guys who were Premier League superstars at the time, who were probably earning £20,000-30,000 a week, but then they come to the end of the careers, and a lot of them to do with things like maybe alcohol. Some unfortunately got involved in drugs, some just lost their way a bit, and I won't name names, but there was 1 or 2 players who were superstars in that Leicester team in the early 2000s who didn't have any money post-career because they just didn't have any advice, they didn't have any guidance. And I think like what you are doing, when I first met you and Paul, and you explained how you're going to do it through the power of like properties and lands, and just educate that you've got to start thinking for the future, you've got to forward think a little bit. And at the time, maybe you're 27, you're single, you're not even thinking of kids, you haven't got a girl or a permanent girlfriend. It's like the last thing you want to think about, but you should be thinking of the future. And it was soul-destroying to see in those early 2010 eras and decade that the amount of players who don't have the support, and even till this present day, I get a lot of stories back to me of people who've earned tens of millions of pounds in the game and are bankrupt. They don't have any money.
You can't get your head around that, can you? You just don't understand it. Yeah,
it's hard, and it's like obviously there is a disparity between NRL and the Premier League in England, but like it shows you like it's so important whether you're earning $500 a week or you're earning £50,000 a week. It's so important to forward think, because you're probably going to have kids at some point in the future, and it's important to set yourself up to enjoy that second part of your life where you could be pretty relaxed. And money's not everything, but one of the things I've learned over the years, if you don't have to worry about money, it's definitely a good thing not to have to worry about it. And I've found that through myself, being a single dad full time with 2 kids, it's like not having to worry about money means I can focus on helping kids in the sport that I'm in, and to try and help those kids stand on their own 2 feet, and that's my big mission, and I think it makes a hell of a difference. So what you and Paul are doing, I think, is absolutely phenomenal. And you did tell me a little about Fogs as well, and like that, I just don't think people realise how important those sort of businesses are. So hats off to you for everything you're doing, Matt.
Thank you very much, Ray. Yeah, just like you said, mate, that guidance, and as we know, it's the people you surround yourself with, right? So if you can, you get a little group here, a little group there, we're all, doing it for the better and guiding, these athletes in the right direction, and just understand it might not be land and house package for them, but it might be something else. At least you've got those right people around you that can connect you with, what your vision is for after sport. I think here in Australia, I think we can do a lot better for our athletes and guiding them in the right way. So this is just the start, but very exciting for us. And, it's just giving back through my experiences, through Paul's experience. He's a father himself, obviously. Yeah. He knows land and house packages off the back of his hands, the right places to put people whatever their situations are, their budgets are. It's, leaning on us for that guidance. And, I think we can do that very well.
Now, we're going to drop it all in the show notes to this episode. That's been amazing. But if anyone wants to reach out and help out with Fogs or get involved with Merit Sports, how would they do that?
Just contact me, mate. Get through to Ray, send him some information, email addresses, phone numbers, and we can go from there. So brilliant. Definitely here to help and guide people, and I want to share what I do full time there at Fogs. It's such a great organisation, and keeping that connection to the past is very important in any sport, as we know. Everyone has their old boys groups and things like that, but Fogs is an organisation there to lean on. So very important, and that exciting opportunity with Merit Sports. Please reach out to Ray if you are interested. We'll get you point in the right direction. We'll catch up and have a conversation and see where you're at with life.
Yeah, amazing. So for everyone who is watching and listening in, we will drop it all in the show notes, how you can reach out to me and to Matt and to Paul. We'll also put some information in about Fogs in the website and also about Merit Sport. So, Matt, I'll be honest with you, it's probably one of the best podcasts I've done. I've done about 50 in the last 2 years, and it's so good to see the different crossovers. Well, big thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you, Ray. I enjoyed my time here, mate, and hopefully we can do one again.
Let's get one in the future.
I appreciate having me on. Thank you.
Cheers, Matt. Thanks, guys.